There was a case of an 11-year-old boy last year committing suicide because he was being bullied at school.
Kids are mean. I remember being a child. I've been mean. I've had people be mean to me.
School bullying is in effect the verbal and physical abuse for months and years on end, with the attempt to psychologically destroy the victim.
This is the inevitable consequence of the modern education paradigm.
4. Within the modern education paradigm, there is a hidden assumption of a child's society, which as so far as possible must be separated from the world of adults.
Within this child's society, the individual is subjugated to the absolute tyranny of the majority.
Few adults are capable of standing up to this. Children are simply incapable of it.
This sets up a social system where conformity itself is the religion.
This bizarre religion of conformity to create a Lord of the Flies situation in which abuse, both physical and verbal, is constant and normal.
Adults only watch children as overseers and not as members of the same society. Other examples of overseers are prison wardens and slave masters. An overseer is not a member of the overseen society. Rather, he is more like a force of nature that sets the external conditions surrounding a society.
Affirmative. It is left up to members of the prison society themselves to set up the internal social relationships.
Hi, Dawn. Sorry to bother you, but we were just wondering, are you a lesbian? Well, are you?
No. Liar. She made a pass at me.
Lesbo.
Humans who filter reality through the education paradigm.
Ignoring abuse that happens in school, which they would never condone any other place.
The damage to self-esteem, the damage to all of the, to the person being abused, it changes who they are, true?
It changes their soul, it changes their spirit. And I would have to say, as Jane found out, and Megan, I think, understands, that if you're in a relationship, Dr. Phil, and you're crying a lot, you're begging, pleading, apologizing for things you haven't even done just to avoid the abuse, if you're crying, that's an abusive relationship. If you're ever scared of your partner, perhaps not even scared that you're going to be hit, but scared of his temper, scared to make him angry, scared to ramp him up, you start telling little white lies because you don't want to upset him. That's an abusive relationship. Imagine what this does to your self-esteem, to your feeling of yourself as a woman, to go through this, the sense of entitlement that men have that abuse is astronomical. He's not entitled to do this to Megan. Megan, he's not entitled to do this to you. You own your body and you own your mind. And those are the only two things that you own for the rest of your life. Please stop giving it up to him.
You don't know what it's like to walk down the halls of school and be afraid of who's going to hit you, who's going to kick you.
The bullying didn't stop for 5 years.
The week before that he died, he was being treated so badly in school. And again, he didn't give me specific details. He just told me that, Mom, I was going to cry. And I couldn't stay there in that class and cry in front of everyone. He said I had to leave.
He turned to the school counselor, who vowed to start weekly sessions. He saw his private counselor that week, too, the day before he died. 2 counselors, a concerned mother, but no friends, a tormented teen.
It was hurtful, but it also became very cruel that final week.
Oh, yeah. I heard the story of the chair being pulled out from under him and him being told to go hang himself, kill himself.
At the urging of those classmates, within days, Billy Lucas committed suicide.
My husband screams and insults me all the time. Then he beats me.
I feel entitled. My wife is weird and ugly.
Donna, do not leave your husband. What? What are you going to do the next time something difficult in life happens? Give up on that also. You have to learn how to fight your battles. No, I want to leave him. You have to stay with your husband. Why? Because the paradigm says so. The paradigm does not have to serve us. We serve the paradigm. I do not care how abusive the paradigm is. Listen to your husband. You are sort of weird. Stop acting so weird. Come to me for therapy each week, and I will help you not be so weird. Maybe you need some Ritalin also. You have to make the paradigm work. Do not blame your husband and do not blame the paradigm. Thou shalt never question thy paradigm. And the beatings. Stop coming up with excuses. Just stick this through. In a few years it will get better. In a few years it always gets better.
Some humans dedicate a lot of time and effort into stopping abuses from the malfunctioning paradigm.
However, if one is psychologically incapable of seeing past the limited paradigm and cannot recognize that other options exist,
then by default, such a person is still an ardent paradigm supporter.
I was picked on mercilessly in school. People were really cruel to me. I was bullied a lot, beat up, thrown against walls and lockers and windows, stuffed into bathroom stalls. People shit on my car, people scratched my car, broke my windows. And my parents went in once to talk to the school administrators about the harassment I was getting at school, and they basically said, if you look that way, talk that way, walk that way, act that way, then there's nothing we can do to help your son. Honestly, things got better the day I left high school. I didn't see the bullies every day. I didn't see the people who harassed me every day. I didn't have to see the school administrators who would do nothing about it every day. Life instantly got better.
If there are 14 and 15 and 16-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds out there watching this video, what I'd love you to take away from it really is that it gets better. However bad it is now, it gets better. And it can get great, and it can get awesome. Your life can be amazing, but you have to tough this period of it out, and you have to live your life so that you're around for it to get amazing, and it can and it will.
As covered in Part 2, a paradigm is a philosophical or theoretical framework of any kind. Paradigms which do not work should be discarded. However, humans generally hold on to their failed paradigms. This process is summarized in SLMRCS's 2 Laws of Paradigms.
The first law of paradigms states that, any time a paradigm fails, upholders of the paradigm will say it's your fault for not making the paradigm work hard enough. They will never blame the broken paradigm.
Debbie Johnston accomplished her emotional 3-year mission this week with the passage of Jeffrey's Law. With state funding on the line, it requires schools to adopt proven anti-bullying rules.
We tried reason, we tried logic, we tried morality, we tried legality. Take care of these students, and it didn't work. You know what we're trying now? Pocketbook.
The second law of paradigm states,
paradigms that fail due to internal contradictions cannot be reformed. A new paradigm must be created to solve the internal contradiction.
Now, I could go on for hours dissecting the nonsensical psychological thought processes of anyone who defends sending children to Lord of the Flies conformity cult camps. But the bottom line is that this system has failed, and no child should be sent to any of these schools, especially one who has been designated for psychological destruction by the peers. And to anyone who actually would defend this system, I think the real question that they need to answer is, how many children need to kill themselves before you're willing to question your paradigm?